Welcome to D-Lab Electronics Hints and Kinks. Subject, the DX-60 transmitter. Welcome to D-Lab Electronics. Today I have a special guest star. It's Mila. Her first time talking on DX-60 transmitter. What do you think, Mila? Mila, what do you think, buddy? Yeah, that's what I think too. Alright guys, here we go with the video. Welcome to D-Lab's Hints and Kinks. What we're going to do today is go through a DX-60 transmitter, and I'm going to give you 5 easy improvements. Alright, improvement number 1, AC line fusing. Normally there would be a little glass circuit breaker sitting here on this terminal board. Those circuit breakers are known for failing, and therefore you lose protection for your power transformer. So I'd highly suggest that you add a chassis mount fuse holder and install a 3AG 3 amp fuse. And you simply swing the wires back over where that circuit breaker used to be. Improvement number 2, and probably the most important thing that you can do for your DX-60 transmitter for a clear, bold signal on the air, is to replace your power supply filter capacitors. Originally there was 2 beige caps sitting here horizontally, and then they had a can type filter that's mounted on the chassis. There's plenty of real estate to abandon all that, land a couple terminal boards, and use these radio mount 47 microfarad at 450 volt caps. Here's one you can check out that I have not installed yet. They're made by this EPCOS company, which I understand is owned by TDK. They're top quality components. Improvement number 3, V1 oscillator, making it more reliable. To do this, you need to add a jumper wire from pins 2 to 9 on the tube base. If you take a look at the schematic, it actually shows that 2 and 9 are connected, but that is actually an internal connection to the tube itself. Okay, so now if you take a look, you'll see that originally they had a wire going to 2 and another wire going to 9. Well, guess what? One of those wires is the negative bias keying. So if that connection between 2 and 9 become intermittent, so does your oscillator. If you look over here into the driver section, it also uses the same tube, but they didn't connect anything to pin 2. I found that the oscillator had an intermittent operation until I installed that jumper. Improvement number 4, and of course a personal favorite of mine, is to add a D-Lab PushtoTalk Module to your DX-60 transmitter. Not only is it good for my shop, but it's good for the longevity of your DX-60 transmitter. Here's why. In its normal configuration, to go from standby to AM or CW, you have to continuously toggle the function switch. These switches, just like the function switch in a Ranger, are as they call unobtainium. Okay, so to replace this, you'd probably have to find a donor transmitter. You can install one of these modules, and then this switch goes to AM or CW, and it sits there until you key the radio. I'm going to show an example of this at the end of the video. Here we are, guys. Improvement number 5. What could that be? How about we spiffy up the lighting on the DX-60 transmitter? So this meter case is actually clear plastic, so you can backlight it with a GE47, and now your DX-60 will really glow in the dark. Then if you take a look over here at the high voltage indicator lamp, that is normally a little red neon that's super dim, you can barely even tell it's on. Look at this one. Bam! High intensity green LED, the green Heathkit coloring. Let me show you guys what it takes to add these 2 improvements. Well, there's a little added GE47 on a metal base. There's only a single wire because this transmitter uses the chassis as common. So you simply bring that wire through this rubber grommet and take off one of the filament feeds to these tubes, and now you have backlighting for your meter. The new high voltage indicator lamp is actually a neon. It's just new technology. So here it is. It's a 250 volt half watt neon lamp, and this guy slides right in the stock hole. The only thing you have to do is change the resistor. The original was a 470K, and now you're going to change that to a 220K. One word of caution, guys, full plate voltage is at that resistor, so you got about 675 volts sitting right there. So be careful and make sure that it's discharged before you install the new components. So as I promised at the end of the video, I'd give you a demonstration of the push-to-talk circuit in the DX-60 transmitter. This one not only has the push-to-talk using a TRS input jack on the microphone, but it also has what I call the monologue switch. And that was one of the reasons that I added the backlighting to the meter, because this is where the power indicator lamp used to be. Now it serves its purpose as a monologue or a manual activation of the transmitter. Alright, so I'm using a dummy load right now for the output of the transmitter. We're monitoring on a National 300 receiver. Just take a listen to the audio on this DX-60. 1 2 1 2. Hello. Gotta watch the feedback there, guys, but listen to that crystal clear audio. Pretty amazing. That's why everybody's after these transmitters. Yeah, if I turn it much more, it's going to be feedback city. Alright, so you get the idea. The transmitter just is working great. Now remember, it only puts out about 10 watts on AM, but you can drive an amplifier with this thing and really have a killer signal. So now let's check out the monologue function. Alright, so now I will demonstrate the monologue switch, and where that term came from is back in the day before they had push-to-talk on transmitters. They just had a big bat handle toggle switch. So the guys would flip the switch and sit back in their chair, drink their 807, and talk for like 30 minutes until you give up, right? So that is what the switch is all about. So you hit the monologue switch, and now you can just sit back and talk on your DX-60, okay? You can actually like sit back with your feet up like this, right? And have your hammered ham glass of wine and just talk and talk and talk until people are like, please, will you stop talking? So that's what it's all about, guys. It gives you that functionality so you don't have to continuously hold the push-to-talk on your microphone. I do plan to put this DX-60 on a future episode of the Hammered Ham.